5 main reasons why I actually love. Welcome back to the channel. How you been? Hope you're all doing extremely well. Today we're going to be talking about the BMW Z3. It has been under my carport, unfortunately sitting there for quite a few months. It's been about 9 months since I've driven it, since I pretty much obtained the M140i. There just hasn't been a real reason to drive it. And unfortunately, during the colder months, well, you don't really drive it. But today I want to talk about the 5 main reasons why I actually love owning that car. Number 1 is the handling. It's got to be the handling. Although I've got the M140i, I have owned very many cars. I've owned Nissan Silvias, I've owned Toyota Supras, I've owned an E46 M3. Wait, the handling on the E46 M3 was probably a lot better, but I've owned many cars beside the point, and this car, the BMW Z3, just sticks to the road. The handling is like no other car, to be quite honest. The way it responds to the inputs that you're giving it through the steering wheel, it's just on point. I mean, for a car that was made in 1997, it just drives so well. It drives like no other car. So that's one of the reasons. One thing that could be a hell of a lot better is the brakes. The brakes are like cardboard. They're no good. I mean, the car weighs about 1360 kilos, so it's not a very heavy car, and you don't need to rely on really good brakes, but it would be a hell of a lot better if we had some good brakes for the car. There's no wandering through the steering wheel, so when you're driving, even at speed, about 100, there's no sort of drifting from the steering wheel at all, and the car drives dead straight even after all of these years. When you've taken the roof off, now I'm very fortunate, I have the hard top, so it does stiffen up the chassis quite a lot, but with the roof off, and if you're driving at, you know, say 60 to 80, you do start to feel what I like to call a scuttle shake, and it does put you off a little bit, and that's because obviously it does not have the reinforcement that a normal car has. So there is that. Number 2, let's talk about the engine. It puts out about 190 horsepower. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot in today's standards, and I mean, my M140i is pushing about 340 horsepower, so comparing it to that, there's no real comparison. However, the size of the car plays a big factor in this. Now, the car is about 4 meters long, I believe, and although my little hatchback, my M140i, is a small car, it's actually still bigger, would you believe it or not. It's 4.32 meters, so you don't need a lot of power to push this car, which is what makes it so damn fun. The amount of torque, I mean, we're talking about, I think it's about 270 newton meters of torque. Although I've got the 2.8 liter, I would have loved to have owned the 3 liter. The 3 liter, I feel, is going to be where the value goes up in these cars. These cars have not gone up in value for quite some time. But I believe that the 2.8 and the 3 liter are gonna be the most desirable of the BMW Z3s. Now, I have the Z3, the first generation with the wide body, which, you know, I'm a bit biased, but I think that's the coolest. With 190 horsepower, which isn't a lot, we're talking about a quarter mile in 15.6 seconds, which is not that quick by any standard, but for a stock car made in 1997, you really can't complain with that, with a 0 to 100 time of about 6.8 seconds. So nowhere near the M140i, but you're gonna have a lot more fun getting there. Number 3, why I love owning the BMW Z3, it has to be the LSD from factory. It's kind of ridiculous that the M140i, being a $50,000 plus car in Australian dollars, doesn't come with an LSD, and a car back in 1997, which is in no means an M car, it comes with the LSD as factory, which makes it obviously a lot more predictable around a corner. And not only that, but it actually makes it a hell of a lot more fun. So to be quite honest, around a corner, the BMW Z3 wins out over the M140i. Number 4 has to be the transmission. Now, we have seen a transition here from everyone wanting manual to everyone wanting dual clutch, automatic transmissions. And back in the day, for you younger people, it was all about the manual transmissions. It wasn't about the auto. Now, if you buy a car, you want it to shift the quickest because everyone's worried about the 0 to 100 times. And a manual car just isn't going to achieve the quickest results for you. So everyone is wanting automatic. Back in the day, manual was the way to go. To be quite honest, in daily driving, it is a little bit more of a pain, but overall, having a manual transmission, pressing that clutch, and having more control over the car is just a lost art. It also allows you to control the car that little bit more, and obviously it's more of a driver's car. Number 5 has to be the styling and the looks of the car.
So sexy.
Are you kidding?
Now, I might be a little bit biased, and a lot of people that I speak to just do not desire or do not like the look of the BMW Z3. I think it's a timeless shape. I think in 10 years, it's still gonna be as cool as it is today. And with some cars, that's just not going to be achieved. I mean, the Tesla is great now, but let's have a look at the Tesla in 15 to 20 years and see what people think of it. I dare say you're gonna be looking at that going, I can't believe we actually paid this sort of money for this car due to its looks. But of course, that is up to personal opinion. Now, I know reliability and BMW probably don't go together. I mean, I don't think anyone on this planet in their right mind says, I'm going to buy a BMW because it's reliable. The reliability is always in question, but this car has been extremely reliable for me, so I cannot complain. The only thing I think I've done is a water pump, and to be quite fair, the water pump was $55. Now, I had a 335 E92 water pump went, and I think that was about $800. So in relation to reliability, even if it does break down, the parts are a lot cheaper. We're talking about parts that are more manual compared to today's parts that are more sort of automatic, so to speak. And there's just so many components to those that to replace it, it costs a lot of money. And overall, the BMW Z3, any way that you look at it, it is a cool car. The values, as I sort of said, haven't gone up much at the moment, but it's got to be in line to go up. I mean, rarity of the car is becoming increasingly high, especially a car with a hardtop. The hardtops in Australia are fetching anywhere from about $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the condition and whether or not it comes with the mounting hardware. Anyway, that is 5 reasons why I absolutely love the BMW Z3. To be fair, I have the 6-cylinder, and I might not be saying this about the 4-cylinder. Reasons why I love the BMW Z3.